Napping is an adult skill that not enough people have, and I think you should all work on it. That's it. That's my take for No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl today. Just kidding. We got more to cover than that. It's a Monday. Happy Monday, everybody. No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl. Live on the red square. Live on the, I always forget what color it is. Some other square. And we're just talking to the people out here. It is a Monday. And the title of this episode, allegedly, is, I want to get it right, because accuracy is key on the internet these days. Allegedly, purportedly, reportedly, Monday. Those are the facts. I use those words for a really specific reason. First of all, hi, how are you? I hope you're doing great. I hope physically you're doing well, spiritually, in your soul, in your aura, as my sister would say. What's going on here? How are you? I hope you're doing fine. And if we're hanging, I hope you're doing great. Here's a little break for your brain, though. No breaks with Jamie Erdahl. I'm just going to blabber at you. I've said this a couple times in interviews. I've heard it a lot in the social media realm. And I want to stop saying it. And I mentioned this in an interview the other day. I'm not sure I like the word yap anymore. I think it's a lazy crutch, annoying word that I still use. It's not like me just judging other people for using it. I use it, certainly. And I'm going to try to stop because I think it's annoying. So blabber at you is going to be the word that I use now. No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl. It's just going to be a streaming sense of thought today. I honestly think Mondays might turn into this until I get some guts up to invite some people on my show, which I still haven't done yet. I think I might just come on here and do like a brain dump from over the weekend. Now, I use that term specifically because I worked last Christmas with now a dear friend of mine, Greg Olson. He is on Fox Sports. He played in the NFL for a long time. And for those of you who are saying, stop mansplaining Greg Olson to me, it's because of No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl is a safe place with no sports. We're going to flirt with that line today a little bit. I'm probably going to put $5 in the charity jar, in the no sports jar. But I have to go some places in order to tell my stories. And the places are in the sports world. So bear the bleep with me, will ya? Anyways, I worked last Christmas on a Netflix NFL game with this guy, Greg Olson, and I had never worked with him before. However, his role specifically was one of game analyst, color analyst. And Greg was warning the crew that we were with, because we had all not worked together before at all. He was like, the game is on Christmas Day, whatever. So Christmas Eve, we have a production meeting. And he's like, gotta do a brain dump on the game. I'm like, I don't know what this means, but I'm into it, because anytime you can kind of soak in information from these guys is a good day in my book. So we sit down on Christmas Eve at a nice hotel in Houston for our production meeting, the whole crew that's working on this Netflix game. And Greg Olson, I swear, talked for 29 and a half minutes straight. No breaks. He may be the inspiration of the show and he didn't even realize it. It was incredible. I learned so much. Every phase of the game, both sides of the ball, both teams. And I was like, dang, Greg, what are we doing here? This is awesome. No Breaks with Greg Olson is what we're going to do. You know what? I have to invite him on. He said he would come on when we were hanging in. Then I did the game with him in Dublin, Ireland, and we're in the production meeting for that. And it was amazing because I think I was the only person in the room that was the same of the crew between Christmas Day and the Dublin game. And these people were like, we don't know what a Greg Olson brain dump is. And I'm just like, oh, you don't know? You don't know? You're about to get your notepads out. And then the other thing that happened in that meeting was that because I was only on the one side for the Dublin Vikings game, Vikings Steelers, I was only on the Vikings sideline. And between GMFB and like all the stuff that was going on, I was, prepared if I had to do something Steelers related, but I didn't. We had the great Hall of Famer Pam Oliver on the broadcast. I'm definitely putting more than $5 in the no sports charity jar today. So I didn't really feel that morally obligated to be like super well read on the Steelers side. So Greg goes through this brain dump in our production meeting, and he goes Vikings offense, I think Steelers defense. Then if you flip the card, Steelers offense, Vikings defense. That's how it went, because I was essentially bookended, and he was going. He was cooking. That one also lasted about 30 minutes, at least, in the greatest way possible. Greatest way possible. No breaks with Jamie Erdahl. And one of Greg's kids was on his family was on the trip, and one of his kids came to the production meeting, which I think is so cool, and I can't wait. Can't wait to get to an age where maybe I can bring one of my kids to do that. But I take my Vikings notes, and he starts talking about the Steelers defense, and I just was like, I'm gonna check out for a little bit. Truthfully, my brain took a break. Nope, my brain took a break. No breaks with Jamie Erdahl. My brain took a break. And then he went Steelers offense. Brain was still taking a break. It was like on a lily pad over in a different part of the conference room. I was thinking about my flight home. I was thinking about if my parents were all set up to take care of my kids back in the continental United States. Like, my brain was elsewhere because I just didn't feel that morally responsible for the Pittsburgh Steelers that day. And that's okay. Don't come for me. And then he circles back to the Vikings defense, and I'm sure I took some notes. But he tells me later. This was on a Saturday. You always have a production meeting the night before a game. We're later at the hotel bar, because I'm a hang girl. I always walk through the hotel to see anybody hanging. Greg and his wife were hanging. My husband and I were walking through. So it's four of us sit down and have a couple beverages together. And he said that his kid gets in the elevator with him, and he's like, "Dad, I think that girl that was sitting next to me kind of checked out halfway through your brain dump." No, don't tattle on me, Greg Olson's kid. It's kind of true. I did have an excuse for it. I hope I didn't offend Greg. I hope I didn't teach the youths any bad habits. I made a calculated effort to not listen to the entire brain dump. But you all are here for No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl on a Monday, so this is your calculated effort to be here. So you have to listen to it. That was my small story about Greg Olson. I think that's about $5 to $10 worth in the No Sports jar. It's a story about sports. It had nothing to do with the sports. Speaking of, I host a different show called Good Morning Football. It's live on NFL Network Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern, I think. It's 5 a.m. for me local. ASMR, soda drinking. And I almost got in trouble today. I think. Yes, the No Sports charity jar is like a swear jar, but better, because it takes you, you get in trouble if you reference the sports. And that's going to be, I think, where my avenue is. I'm going to have some sports friends on No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl that you're not allowed to talk about sports. It's going to be a fun time. So, I almost got in trouble today on Good Morning Football. Kyle Brandt, my co-host, comes on, and we are talking about, what are we talking about? We're at the start of the show. Right. And we are about to talk about Sunday Night Football. That's what it is. Lock in, Jamie. And Falcons-Niners was a fine game. It was fine. It had its parts. Not as good as Broncos-Giants, though. We're up to $20 in the No Sports Store. And our whole off the top of the show, we tease what's coming up. Well, I did the world's most generic tease. Frankly, my brain just wasn't clicking until we get through the Melissa Etheridge song. So I'm just like, hey, here are the names of the people. Here's the name of the show. Here's what we're going to do today, Kyle. And then Kyle just absolutely beats me over the head with a baseball bat by having the most creative way to tease television, which is referencing Woodstock 99. I was 10 or 11 years old. Woodstock 99. I got nothing. So I don't know who the first band was that he referenced. Probably Nirvana or something like that. And then he references Bush, the band. And this is in the opening salvo I think that's the right way to use that term. The opening 35 seconds of our show on Good Morning Football. And then the opening music rolls, and I got Manti Te'o to my left, who's younger than me, and it's like, Bush? And I'm like, just let it go. Because, like, us, like, offending, right, Korn, then Bush. Thank you to a viewer in the chat. Good clarification. Not Nirvana. And not the beer either. I understand how you would be confused, as was I. So he starts going, and Kyle's doing a different highlight for a different game, and then he comes on camera, and he's like, you know, Bush, Gavin Rossdale, the lead singer is Gavin Rossdale, and, like, essentially, up until that point, he was speaking French. I did not understand him. I was like, I don't know what you got. I don't know. I kind of knew it was a band, but up until then, I didn't get it. So my brain locks in on Gavin Rossdale. I'm like, yeah, Gavin Rossdale. Now, unfortunately, this is where it's like the unfortunate incident of like a live television show earlier today and now. I say, and I quote, now I'm quoting myself about something that I wasn't supposed to say, but bear with me. I only know Gavin Rossdale from when he cheated on Gwen Stefani. And like the guys in New York, Willie Colon and Kyle Brandt, almost like fell off their chairs trying to save my career and soul by yelling like, alleged, reported, Jamie, what are you doing? This is a live football show. My mistake for not putting the word reported or alleged in front of it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I should have. I understand now that that's the rule of thumb, because unless I like, you know, don't take this the wrong way, like witness this infidelity firsthand, I can't speak to it like it's fact. Fine. So these guys, you know, in their playful delight, these guys, you know, are saving me by being like, Jamie, come on. They're giving me a really hard time, like big brothers would, you know. Can't believe you just said that. You don't know that this happened, Jamie. This is a football show. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's like, all right, I get it. My bad. Let it go. So then by letting it go, Kyle's interpretation of that is like 17 more references to Bush and Gavin Rossdale. But the point is, there are just some people in pop culture that in your era, in your generation, you just kind of lock in on. And while Kyle or other people's interpretation of Gavin Rossdale is purely the lead singer or the guitarist or I don't know, is he the drummer? I got nothing. All I know is like with this great hair and his beautiful ex-wife Gwen Stefani, who I adore. And that's the fact. They were married, okay? So in the spirit of always using this crutch in television, and by crutch I mean I think it's like in the spirit of like let's never get sued concept. It is allegedly, reportedly, purportedly Monday. Now I can't get in trouble. You know what, actually? Because I say the wrong day of the week so many times, I'm going to start saying it's reportedly whatever day of the week I think it is. And then I can't be embarrassed about my mistake anymore. Genius. We came up with that together. Thanks for the help. It's so funny. The people that work behind the scenes on TV shows, it's like an iceberg. We're just the tip up here. All right, we are just the exposed in the cold north winds with the, you know, with the ice and the ships that might crash into us. We're taking the brunt of the force from the Titanic. And there's all these layers and all these people beneath that tip who are like, you can't say it like that. Even though so many people after I said Gavin Rossdale reportedly was cheated on Gwen Stefani, all these people in my life were like, no, that's absolutely what I know him as. You know what I mean? I'm just saying your intrusive thought. I just didn't put the word reportedly in front of it. All right, so leave me alone. It did make me think about all the other times that like a celebrity has very publicly had like an infidelity moment. And how we have these different associations with them. And I was kicking around today with a friend of mine that works on the show, speaking of the bulk of the bottom part of the iceberg, somebody who I run a lot of my ideas by. And he goes, it's like that Office episode, which I'm an Office person. I like to grade fandom just so people can understand like where we're at. We level set it. Like I'm not A+, Swiftie. I'm like a B- Swiftie. I'm into it. I support it. But I'm not going to be like the first person with the original thought on the Easter egg. That's just not how that's going to go. So The Office, C+, C. You explained to me, I've watched it all the way through once, I would say. You explained to me a scenario the way that this was explained to me. And then it clicks. I understand exactly what happened. So allegedly, this is how this office episode went. Michael's trying to get Dwight to get the office to like buy into him to be about Dwight. And Michael's giving him advice like, well, this is how you would do it, X, Y, and Z. And one of the pieces of advice was Michael said, Dwight, you gotta catch him with something, grab him. And like, say something, I don't know if it was like juicy or salacious, but you get their attention with some information. And Dwight's like, yeah, I got it. And so Dwight goes out to the office, the congregation, and he's like, something has happened on like a train stop or a train. There's been an accident down the road, and they don't really care. I think nobody cares. And then he goes, somebody asks, well, did anybody important get hurt? And Dwight says, Brad Pitt. And Mindy Kaling goes, well, that's what he gets for cheating on Jennifer Aniston. There's just some pop culture moments that lock in your head where the Mindy Kaling character only knows Brad Pitt for what he did to Jennifer Aniston. Reportedly. Allegedly. Okay? It's like a chapter. It's like there's a reason why that's a part of their Wikipedia page, people. When you become a public figure, this becomes part of your lore. And I think, frankly, I'm sure some PR guru out there is nodding their head like, yes, it's working. It's all working. They're talking about us no matter what. At least the male versions of the infidelity, reportedly, allegedly. I should do it like a tick. I should have like a metronome. Every 45 seconds, I have to say the word reportedly, allegedly, or purported, and make sure I'm covered. Because I am my own lawyer on this show. We do it all here, people. I'm glad that people in the chat remember this from our show, Good Morning Football, earlier today. On both. On the red square and the other square that I'm live on. It was a good moment. And I was really nervous there. Like, you have to understand, too. Like, there have been other times in being on television, whether it be for Good Morning Football or for anything I've been on television for, where it might come across as a playful moment, but like I could legitimately get in trouble for some stuff. So the other one that comes to mind is early in my time on Good Morning Football, I swore when I was telling a story about Nick Saban, and it was benign in the telling. I essentially just said like he lost his bleep. And then I kept going. It wasn't like it was not the crescendo of the story. It just kind of blurted out in his like telling of the story. He lost his bleep. And the story went over like gangbusters, let me tell you. And then we get to commercial and somebody in my ear goes, Jamie, it was a great story. We really appreciated it. I was 2 months into hosting Good Morning Football. And this producer goes, great story. Really appreciate it. You can't say that. You can't say that. And like, you might be having a great day, and then I immediately was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get in trouble. The show, we have to like redo the segment. I was really nervous. And then Kyle and Peter and Jason not Jason because he was new to TV, but Kyle and Peter told me these stories where they've sworn on television. It made me feel better. So don't make it a habit. And there's different forums, different strokes for different folks, but don't make it a habit. So it was nerve-wracking. Honestly, I felt badly about it when I first said it. It was just more like, it's like that game that you play. Someone says a word and then you say immediately what happens after, or immediately what comes to your brain. So he was saying like bush, corn, blah, blah, Woodstock. And I was like, I am swimming upstream here. I got next to nothing when it comes to what you are referencing here. So oftentimes if Kyle's going down like a 90s music, 90s rock avenue of thought, I'm boop, 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 boop on the Wikipedia just trying to find a lifeline for something to talk about. I got to get us back on track. And there's nothing more jarring in TV, at least from the way I do TV, than when someone's just out on a limb making a point and you just careen back into a different topic. And you're like, you didn't even want to connect a single point, did you? Did you even just listen to what the last person said? That's just my own personal pet peeve. That's how I do television. I like to just do like a gentle bow. The producers in my ear on Good Morning Football say, put a bow on this and then move on. Sometimes my bows, the tying of the bow lasts a little longer than they probably would want. But we put the bow on it, then we move on. So Kyle's going on and on about Woodstock 99. And when I mean on and on, it was like an 11-second spiel. But the point is, I was like, God, I'm looking for something. So when he says Gavin Rossdale, I go, allegedly, then I didn't say that out loud, cheated on Gwen Stefani. That's my only reference point. And it's probably yours too, be honest. It did make me think. I was clicking through a really fun slideshow. I'm not sure who that was fun for. I'm not going to reference the website or anything. Other celebrity caught cheating headlines that now saying it on live on YouTube feels a little classless to reference. I'm not going to do that. We're not going to go there. But there are some really entertaining ones out there. I saw somebody wrote already, well, the Brad Pitt one, is an allegedly obvious one. The other one that comes to mind real quick, this will be my last example of it, is and it's only top of mind because of, I think they have a new documentary out, which is the Beckhams. And here's the thing, is the Beckhams have an alleged infidelity scandal from whatever year that was. Late 90s, early 2000s. Someone can check me on that. And it was public for sure. And I even think that it was documented with that woman. They were walking somewhere together, which clearly means they were having a reported affair. Reported, alleged, purported. Monday. And I have a reference for David Beckham. Now, he's done a mighty fine job of resurrecting his character in the name of it's being a really locked in husband and father, it looks like. And she has given him the space to do that. It's like, if you stay together, it's none of my business. You, Victoria, you're clearly locked in on this with David. Cool. But I just remember how horrible headlines and people were to that woman, bless her soul, that was involved. And then, recently I saw an interview. She was on a podcast. This is at least 20 years later. At least. And she's on this podcast answering I think the guy asked her, well, was he in love with you? And she is such a whiz, this woman who the alleged affair was with, David Beckham. She's like, I don't know, you'd have to ask him. Yeah, you're right. Let's ask him, all right? Let's put on one of the what feels like 5 documentaries about the Beckhams that we've watched and ask him the question. Have the woman on and have her talk about something else. This isn't really a baked out thought. I just kind of felt like there are some pop culture moments that I get it legally because people watch me and they think everything I say is the truth, which is a little nerve-wracking, to be honest. I got to throw a couple of allegeds and reporteds in there, but that was a funny moment earlier today on Good Morning Football. And frankly, I like that No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl has become this. It's like a palate cleanser for any of the small pockets of moments that come out. And then we can expand on it and explain it here on No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl. A couple other things that I wanted to get to on a brain dump Monday, reportedly a Monday. I wanted to tell you some of the themes that I have not covered on this show yet. You guys, I have a whole document of what I wanted the show to be. But what's been really cool about No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl is because I can't stay true to it. I can't stick to it because things just bubble up naturally. I would have had something entirely different to say had that whole alleged moment not happened. Now that sounds insidious. Is that the right word? Between Kyle and I this morning on Good Morning Football. That did not just reportedly happen. That happened. The reportedness is of the affair between those people that I've mentioned before. But here's what we have missed. My first week on the show, which now we're in I think I'm in the 3rd week of the show. The theme was supposed to be beginnings. What does that mean? Why did I write it like that? I was going to explain myself, which I kind of did in the first episode of the show. We still did Be a Good Human Thursday. Okay, so beginnings, but it was supposed to be like, then the second week, first jobs. And I really have never even told those stories either. This is why No Breaks is going to be so fun. We got to get into a lot of stuff. I was going to do a whole theme of first jobs because, again, I have my friend Giselle. I used to hate you Tuesdays with Giselle. I'm sure she's got great stories about first jobs. My sister in the healthcare space, great jobs. And then Chris Summers, Dad Fridays, which, by the way, I got something to say about that. He would have a good story about first jobs. He's lived a really fascinating life. And then also the hockey side of things. Like, I think Chris's life was fascinating, interesting, and he played pro hockey. He would have good stories. I haven't locked in on any of these themes that I wrote down. Speaking of Crack It Fridays and NA Thursday, this week is going to be huge. Huge. We got a big old gift from somebody this week. Major brand. And I haven't drank this beer in a while. And the brand is so big that they have both NA products and beer, obviously. They're first a brewery, first and foremost. And they've now created a spinoff of an NA product. So I reached out to them and they were like, yeah, we want October 23rd and 24th. I think those are going to be the dates. Yeah, Thursday, Friday of this week. And I'm so excited. I am so excited. So I got those. They're on ice. They're chilling. And that's the end of this week. But this is what I fear. I don't know what percentage Spotted Cow is from Wisconsin, the beer that I had on Friday. But I was really starting to talk my bleep with Summers by the end of the show, and I feel kind of badly. And I know he's listening, so sorry, Summers. I'm going to take it easy on you next week. I checked in on him Saturday, and he was out with his family at a football game, which I thought was awesome. But part of me, that was like my olive branch of like, are we good? Was I talking too much bleep? I know I wasn't because, man, he can dish it. And if like that level of sports, I think you have to be able to dish it. But it was like I don't think I'd like eaten all day. And then I had whatever percentage beer. Spotted Cow is probably like 2%, something embarrassing. And it went right to my head. And I got all like bleep talking loopy Jamie on Crack It Friday, which is going to happen again apparently this Friday because we got such a great beer partner in Thursday and Friday. So shout out to those guys. Maybe I'll reveal who it is. Not on Wednesday because my sister doesn't drink beer and she's annoying like that. So I can't really. She's going to be like, okay, it's just going to fall flat. So first jobs. I think I'm going to save that for a rainy day. First jobs. There's two different forms of first jobs for people, right? There's the first paying job that probably has nothing to do with your current career. So my first direct deposit, which when it's your first job, I think you don't fill out the direct deposit form. You want that check. You want that cold hard check with all the taxes taken out of it from your summer employment. That's like $59.28. You want to take that, sign it on the back, for deposit only, and then you go out in the best way you can because you're not even 21 yet. Come on, you definitely did that with your first job. My first job that was not in my career was I worked in the men's department at a Macy's. There's good stories from it. But I think that would be a good question for everybody. Everybody's got a great first job story, unless you're so rich that you have had no jobs. Then that's a good story too. You probably have better stories than all of us. We'll take them. But those of us who have had jobs. And then my first job within my career path was, I think, high school basketball. I think I got paid like $50 a game to do sideline reporting on high school basketball. I can't even believe they paid me. I should have paid them. That was really cool. So everybody has first job stories. We're gonna save that. We're banking that theme. But the point of No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl is we got space for it all. So we've blown past the first jobs. That was supposed to be the theme of the second week. Didn't get to it. We will, I promise. And then I don't know what. Oh, friendship chapter 1. Because some of these things too is like you get into stories with people, and then there's always going to be a second layer. So friendship, and frankly, your interpretation of it, and just the word friendship as a theme on an adult talk show can be interpreted a lot of different ways. You could take us into friendships from your childhood and how they've changed. Adult friendships. I'm really into just inspecting adult friendships right now, especially as a female. I think it's a challenging space to be in, especially as like a family and a couple that have moved a lot. I got a lot of takes on friendships as an adult, and I guess some as a child too, but friendships, we're banking that. We've blown past that theme. Postpartum. That's going to be a theme. And all of my male listeners and viewers, it's going to be okay. You're going to listen. Okay? We'll hold your hand. We'll use nice terms so everyone's comfortable. I think it's a good thing to hear in a safe space, but with no breaks. Because there's no breaks in postpartum in the nicest way possible. Okay? That was supposed to be this week's theme. And the only reason why is because of my flashback that I mentioned a couple weeks ago with Chris Summers on a Friday, it was a year ago today that I just had like a really horrific postpartum experience that I don't really want to get into. Maybe I'll talk about it with Jacko on Wednesday. She's like my safe place. You want to hear, and then Halloween. Next week's theme, I think, is going to be Halloween. We're just going to open it up. You know, memories, stories, traditions, things that annoy you about the season, things that you love about the season. I think that can for sure take up 5 days. So we're going to lock in on Halloween as a theme next week. Okay. So everybody bring your takes and your thoughts about that. And then I got other ones on the list. Religion, travel, food, birthdays. Whew, no breaks with Jamie Erdahl. But all that to be said is I've referenced some of these things, but we haven't done the deep dive. And this is what I'm teetering on, is I could do the ad lib topic, which I stumbled into today, or I can do the locked in theme topic. I just don't know where to take it. This is why I publicly ask for help producing this show. Lastly, on No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl on a purported, alleged Monday, there's a different, on my channel, on the Red Square that I'm streaming on. Oh, good. People are here for the postpartum chats. I'm seeing it in the chat. So one person has said it. Everybody's in. Okay. All we needed was one vote. It was like the town has voted. I saw one hand. You're locked in. On the Red Square that I'm live streaming on right now, on my page, again, I'm new to the Red Square, so bear with me. There's a place that I can repost videos that are not mine. And 2 times in the last week, No Breaks has gotten a pretty good pop on other YouTube channels. Dang it. No. Don't cancel me, other live square. No Breaks has gotten some pops on some other interviews that have been posted on the Red Square. I was on Rich Eisen last week with my friend Tom Pellicero, and then my new friend, Mitch Morse, Mitch Morse is a retired NFL player who is a center. He went to Missouri, and he was a center. And he played for the Chiefs, and he played for the Bills and Jacksonville. I think those were his 3 teams. He had me on his pod because he came on Good Morning Football in the summer. And as he told the pod, me, on the day that we shot it, he was like, I got the itch. I got the itch to do this, to do that word that we will not say, the chatting. And so he had me on. It was really lovely. And he was like overly effusive with his praise. I was like, Mitch, enough. I mean, I get to sit here like this and in these sweatpants and shoot the breeze about our life. It's great. Don't worry about it. It was a really fun interview. I posted it on the Red Square, so go check it out. And No Breaks gets a little pop, which if you're in the No Breaks community, we allegedly love that for us. Purportedly. it was a really good conversation and opportunity to attempt to sit and not just talk about, I always use this as an example, like top 5 running backs in fantasy football this week. It's just not my jam. It's not where I swim, okay? And so if you need that, there's a lot of people out there making great content that does that. I'm not one of them. Don't come here for that, all right? Come here for kind of the coloring in the outside of the lines, outside the picture, if you will, with no breaks with Jamie Erdahl. So go watch that interview. Mitch is really cool. Subscribe to his stuff. He did a good job. And he's got this Casey, this producer that works with him. Those guys were great. I was a little mad at them because they chugged a Guinness right in my face. Granted, it was like 10 a.m. when we did the interview, but it was right in my face, and I'm kind of annoyed that I didn't get to participate. Not saying, just saying. Don't do that to me. But we had a lot of good chats about just like life and the career and no breaks and why I'm doing it. But honestly, if you're here hanging, you know why we're doing this. Where did I start today? It's allegedly, purportedly a Monday. And, my first thought, and you know why I have this thought? It's because I took a great nap. Sleep is a skill that you should practice. It's like planking, which I should practice that. I need everybody to work on their sleep. This is a blanket statement for the universe right now. Okay? Just try to sleep more. Try to nap. The people who say they can't nap, I don't believe that you've tried. And I need you to go back and try harder and come back and let me know how it went for you. Because your girl loves me a nap. And clearly, if you can tell by my brain dump and the ping pong in which this show just went, it was a great nap. That's it. 2 games that are played with a oblong brown ball with white stitching. That was my way of not saying football. Are being played tonight. Now I'm kind of annoyed with the people that schedule those games because I want 2 games all the time. And I think tonight's games could be awesome. So I need 2 all the time, but I think we're coming to the end of it. So what the heck is that about? It's like you hooked us and now I can't let it go. Somebody on the other non-red live square just said, I just tuned in. What is going on with this show? That's exactly right. You're exactly right. This is No Breaks with Jamie Erdahl, and it is a brain dump Monday. Reportedly. Allegedly. Purportedly. I hope I got out of this unscathed without being sued by any celebrities of their personal lives that I talked about. Tomorrow is I Used to Hate You Tuesday with Giselle Ugardi. And I'm not sure what we're going to get into. Last week we flirted with the religion talk, and we chatted about it after, actually. We're going to have to noodle on that one. Everybody, I hope you have an awesome Monday. That was it. Brain dump, no breaks, alleged Monday. You guys are awesome. Unfortunately, that was already 39 minutes. It felt like 9. That should worry everybody. Bye-bye for now. Stay well, stay healthy, spirit and soul. Bye!